I'm Chandler, but people know me by my YouTube channel name, Movie A Go-Go, or simply as Go-Go. I love movies, and I go to the theater at least once a week, sometimes twice. Movie A Go-Go is a review channel, and I try to review as many movies as I can. Kids movies, thrillers, horror, science fiction, fantasy, superheroes, drama, straight rom-coms, gay rom-coms. If money is short, I stream something and review it. If you visit my channel, you'll find I've reviewed almost 300 shows. I love it. What makes my reviews different from the others? Sock puppets. I've made almost 100 characters. Dogs, cats, all kinds of people, funny characters. You should see the weird ones I made based on some of the monsters. The xenomorph was the hardest, but the Godzilla one, he took the longest to stitch. What do I do when I'm not watching movies? I'm working on a theater degree, or I go snowboarding, but that doesn't happen very often. It doesn't snow in Las Vegas, and Vegas isn't close to any ski resorts. The movie I'm watching ended, and I raced out of the theater, looking at my notebook. I'd taken a bunch of notes about the movie, and was thinking about what I'd say. The movie? The new low-budget horror movie, Don't Look Under the Bed. I had caught its first showing. I'd spent last night making the sock puppet of the mad slasher, and brought an old sock puppet to act as the screaming lead actress. My review would be first. All I needed was 5 minutes at a coffee shop with my laptop and phone, then run my review through the editing program, make some fun auditions, add the opening and the closing. I'd already prepared a few clips I could include, and I would have the very first review online. With it only being 5 minutes long, it wouldn't take long to edit. Finally, my review would be first. My phone beeped with an incoming text. I checked. My best friend and roommate, Dan, sent it. Movie Buff just posted a review for Don't Look Under the Bed. If you hurry, you can be number 2. Stunned, I replied. Not again. How does he do it? Better software, midnight showings, bribes, Dan texted back. I clicked into YouTube and went to Movie Buff's channel. There it was. His review for Don't Look Under the Bed. I can't believe it. Movie Buff had beat me again. He had already watched the movie, wrote his review, filmed his review, edited his review, and uploaded subtitles. How did he do it so fast? Maybe he didn't actually write his review, but just spoke off the cuff, which means he's good at public speaking. I can't do that. I need a script, or I goof up. Who is Movie Buff? My big rival, my arch nemesis. Like me, he ran his own movie review channel. He alternated his movies. One week he did a kid film, the next he did a thriller, or something violent, and then he did a kid film again the next week. His gimmick? He was the buff in Movie Buff. He made all of his videos at a gym while he was working out, and with each video he gave a workout tip, and he rated everything out of barbells. Worse yet, some website said his channel was one of the top LGBTQ channels for a non-LGBTQ audience to watch. And they said that he was voted sexiest new artist by the female 18 to 30 demographic. I could scream. Why did people like his channel more than mine? He didn't even have sock puppets. What galled? I had 9,153 subscribers, while he had 10,199 subscribers. He had 1,046 subscribers more than me, and he didn't even use funny voices or video clips. I spent an hour last night putting my special new sock puppet together, and at least a half an hour creating my video clips for the movie. Before I watched his review, I quickly went to a coffee shop, Coffee, and filmed my 5-minute review. I transferred the video to my laptop, spent 30 minutes editing it and adding emojis and scrolling words and a couple of 5-second movie clips, and then I uploaded it and installed the subtitles. I can't believe I was number 2. Again. Then I watched Movie Buff's review. There he was, walking about some gym, wearing a black tank top that showed off his sexy, muscled arms. It must be chest day, because he later sat at the fly machine and was performing a set of 10 reps while talking about the movie. His review was 7 minutes long. Mine was 5. I had sock puppets and used different voices. He had his sexy arms and his sculpted chest and his tawny hair and the cute dimple on his cheek. He had that stylized groom look about his unshaven chin. Not like me. I can't grow a decent-looking beard, and my hair always stuck out as if I had gelled it. God, Movie Buff was so good-looking. Why do people like his channel better than mine? Sure, I'm not the gorgeous stud like he is, but I'm funny, and crack jokes, and use silly voices, and I engage the audience as best I can. And I even make sock puppets. I even go over the subtitles to make sure they're perfect. And I respond to all comments. I put hours into my channel. It's the best I can do. But it's not good enough to beat Movie Buff. Meanwhile, Movie Buff walks around a gym, showing off his sexy arms and his sexy smile, and sometimes he works on his sexy abs. And the way he can talk to the camera, how did he get to be so camera natural? I rewatched his video, trying not to be jealous. Okay, too jealous. And saw something outside the window. Pay dirt. His gym was next to a coffee. Since there was no gym next to mine, he must be next to another coffee. The place seemed familiar. An evil idea popped into my naughty head. What if I tracked him down? Would that make me a stalker? Not if I only went to visit him once, and he'd never realize it was me. Coffee is a chain coffee shop only in Nevada. I live in Las Vegas. Counting its suburbs, it's the biggest city in Nevada. Movie Buff could be in any city or town. It would be like searching for a needle in 50 haystacks. Unless I found another identifying marker. As soon as I was at the university, I connected my laptop to the university Wi-Fi and logged into Movie Buff's channel. I sped through a couple of his videos and finally found the clue I needed. It was written backwards on the glass door. The name of his gym, Fitness Extravaganza. I cross-checked the web. There was only one Fitness Extravaganza, and it was on the western side of Vegas. How about that? We lived in the same city. Well, though technically I lived down in Henderson. No wonder his gym seemed familiar. I'd probably taken the bus past it without realizing it. It would take me 45 to 60 minutes by bus to get to Fitness Extravaganza. According to Movie Buff's pattern, since he'd just reviewed a horror flick this week, he'd review a kids' movie next week. Just for fun, I planned the bus trip on my phone. I'd need an hour bus ride to get there. Then I'd watch the movie, I'd review the movie, and make the video, see if I could actually find Movie Buff, and then spend the hour trip home. It would take half of the day, at least, but it would be worth it to find out how Movie Buff got his videos out so much sooner. A week later, I'd taken Friday off work, and I sloughed my classes just so I could find Movie Buff's gym, find his theater, and discover how he always got his reviews out before me. The closest theater to his gym was the Cinematic 12, only a 5-minute walk away. That Friday, I caught the bus and somehow stuffed everything I needed to make the review into my backpack. I was extra careful of the new sock puppets. They are my trademark, after all. The Cinematic 12 had 12 theaters, with one being an IMAX. The regular showing started as early as 11:30, but the concession stands opened by 11. The movie was an animated kid movie titled The Big Green Avocado's Adventures of Time and Space. And it opened 30 minutes before my theater. So that's how he beat me. The answer was so simple. His theater started earlier than mine. But not today. I'd beat him. I was ready for my review. I'd made a green sock puppet to be the avocado, and I had a couple of sock puppets for other characters. I also brought my notebook so I could take notes, and I had bought my ticket online. My laptop was in my backpack. After the bus dropped me off, I walked inside the theater. Movie Buff wasn't here. The Big Green Avocado was in theater number 7. I looked in there, also empty. I had arrived so early that not even the previews had started. Where was he? I stood at the concession stand and ordered a giant popcorn, sat at a table to make a few notes, and watched the doors. I had some ideas for the script and quickly wrote them down. I also included names of voice actors, who were the main animators, and the target audience. About 10 minutes before the movie started, a man, a woman, and a 4-year-old girl entered. The man wore a red tank and had nice, sexy arms and great sculpted pecs, and I recognized him immediately. Movie Buff in the muscled flesh. He also carried a laptop. Bingo. I've found you. I'm going to be later because I have 3 interviews, the woman said. I'll pick Tess up about 4. That's okay, friend, Movie Buff said. After the movie, Tess and I can get a pizza and go to the park right after the gym. I love pizza, the little girl said, but no green things on it, Dad. I hate green things. Rhett, I could never do all this without you helping me, the woman said. But I have to go. First interview is in 30 minutes. You'll do fine, Fran, Movie Buff, whose real name must be Rhett, said. Tess, say goodbye to your mom. Bye, Mommy, the girl said. So that would explain why he reviewed a kid's movie every other week. He was watching his daughter. He must be bi, and I'm gay. Things were getting interesting. I nibbled on some popcorn. I almost felt guilty. Maybe I was stalking this poor guy. Good thing he didn't know me. We were both going to a movie, and except for his videos, I'd never see him again. He did live an hour bus ride away from me. Odds are he didn't even know me. Part of me felt stupid. Part of me wanted to stick to the shadows. Part of me laughed at the absurdity of this day. So what if he had more subscribers than me, and everyone watched his reviews because he was so sexy? I had sock puppets. I'd give Movie Buff, Rhett, a shout-out when I made my review. He'd never know that me, Movie Go-Go, was even here. The advantage of being anonymous. I took all my stuff into the theater and camped out in a back seat, tucked my popcorn bucket in the seat next to me, and opened my notebook. I was ready. I set my phone to provide a dim light so I could take notes. Rhett and Tess took 2 center seats 4 rows ahead of me, and he opened his laptop. Did he type his script as he was watching the movie? I wrote it out by hand, and then typed it when I found a plug because my laptop's battery only lasted 30 minutes. The preview started, and I wrote down the names. If I needed filler, I could always mention them. "Daddy, isn't that your friend?" Tess said. "Who?" Movie Buff, a.k.a. Rhett, said. "Over there," Tess said. I made detailed notes of my opening script and figured out how I would use the puppets. As a general rule, one double-spaced, typed page equals 2 minutes of speaking time. So I always limited my reviews to 2 pages, but it always seemed to go longer when I added in the movie clips, special effects, and the sock puppet dialogue. "Where is he?" Rhett said. I had another nibble of popcorn when I realized that people were staring at me. "That guy behind us," Tess said. "Isn't that Gogo? You know, your friend that watches all the movies just like you? He's the guy with all the puppets. My favorite is the princess. She's pretty. Can we see the princess video again tonight?" "How many times have we seen his dishwater princess review?" Rhett said. "And I've never met Movie Agogo." I looked up, directly into the faces of Rhett and Tess, and half a dozen other people in the theater. Hi," I said. Rhett looked exactly like his videos. He was definitely movie buff. He was definitely buff, too. He was definitely gorgeous. And he'd heard of me? They watched my videos? Oh, crap. Getting recognized was the last thing I wanted. Had I ever been recognized in public before? Should I be embarrassed? Should I be happy? How do you handle stuff like this? "It's Gogo," the little girl squealed. "I want to sit by him because I want to see his puppets, and we are watching the same movie. Do you think he made a new puppet for today?" Before I knew it, the little girl was out of her seat, ran around the rows, and was suddenly next to me. "Hi, you're my favorite because you have puppets. I'm Tess, and I'm a sock star. Did you bring any puppets? I want to see." Sock star. That's what I call all the people who watch my videos. "Hi, I said, not sure how to respond. My real name is Chandler. It's a pleasure to meet you." Her dad came around and picked her up. "Sorry about this, Chandler." I relaxed into the weird moment and said, "So you're the famous movie buff." He smiled and said, "Guilty. I guess we're reviewing the same movie. Care for some company?" "My puppets are in the backpack, and I'm getting ready for my review right now," I said. "Have a seat." Several people snapped pictures of the two of us, and one of them yelled, "Oh my God, I found the channel, and he really is Gogo." People had recognized me? I'm just a college student doing this for fun, for the first time ever. I felt like a celebrity. Somebody else said, "Look, here's Movie Buff's channel." Rhett and I stared at each other a second. I think he was as embarrassed as me. Then Tess chimed up and said, "Movie Buff is my dad, and he and Gogo are friends." Before either I or Rhett could correct her, the last trailer ended and the movie started. Rhett and Tess quickly sat beside me. He positioned his laptop and began taking notes, and under the dim light of my phone, so did I. Except he wasn't just taking notes. He was creating talking points. Instead of writing out a full script, did he only use talking points? I could never do that. The movie was only 90 minutes long. I think Tess was more interested in me than the movie, or more exactly, my sock puppets. As the credits rolled, I finished writing my notes and began setting up my camera, balancing my mini tripod on the chairs in front of us. On a whim, I turned to Rhett and asked, "Why don't we do the review together?" "A collaboration?" Rhett asked. I nodded. A collaboration would mean that I wouldn't have to have a finished script, but it might be fine this once. "All my gear's back at the gym. What if we do it there?" Rhett asked. "Then I'll buy us coffee?" "You promised me pizza," Tess yelled, "and no green things, and I don't like mushrooms. They're slimy." "I'll buy us pizza?" Rhett asked. "Sounds like a date," I said. Rhett sort of hid his smile and said, It does. Since I've got you all to myself, can I pick your brain about how you make your videos? The little emoji things you add to spice things up are great, but I don't know how to do that, and I have trouble with subtitles, so a lot of times I don't do them. And you have to tell me some things too, I said, like how you post your videos so fast and seem to speak without a script. Spying on me, huh? Rhett said, but he smiled. I shrugged and said, I'm not a very good spy, because I got caught. We quickly packed everything up and walked over to the gym, talking about how our collaboration would work and what we'd say, and getting to know each other. Once at Fitness Extravaganza, we set up our cameras. To Tessa's delight, I got my sock puppets ready. And we had to make 2 different intros. Using my big announcer voice, I said, Hi, sock stars, I'm Gogo, and welcome to Movie A Gogo. Today I'm doing something different. I'm with the one and only Rhett, the movie buff, and he's sexier in person than on screen. We're tag teaming our review. Are you ready to go to the movies? His movie was Movie Buff here. Guess who I met at the movies? You know him for his sock puppets and creative voices and crazy reviews. Give it up for the genius behind Movie A Go-Go, my new friend Chandler. The body of the review was the 2 of us talking about the movie. Tess even got involved when I got out the sock puppets. She loved the avocado. After we finished, we went to a nearby pizzeria, got our laptops out, edited the video, and both of us uploaded at the same time. I showed Rhett some editing techniques and shortcuts to make the program more friendly, and he showed me how he sped the process up. Tess played with the sock puppets. So you're married? I asked. No, Rhett said. A one-night stand that resulted in a lifetime commitment, and I don't regret it. Fran and I have a, weird, non-relationship, but we make it work. I pay some child support, because she's out of work, but since I also have Tess every other week, it's not much. Since Fran and I are both usually independently employed, and since we aren't married, there is no alimony. Fran is dating a guy, and I had an ex, but he didn't like a kid around half the time, so he left. I looked at the time and said, Oh, crap, I have 10 minutes to get to the bus stop. Rhett closed his laptop and said, Let's do this again. Can I call you? We swapped contact info just before I left. Sitting back, I enjoyed the bus ride. It had been a fun day. Once home, I checked our videos. We had released them at the same time, and people had already started watching both of them. I'd pay for all the fun later by working an extra shift to make up for the hours I missed. And the classes I missed would probably mean more homework. But for now, I was happy. Unless I went to Rhett's theater every week, I'd always be number 2. I sent Rhett a quick text. Had a lot of fun today. How about I take you out to burger sometime? After I sent that, I stared at my phone. How could I go on a date with Rhett? I don't have a car. Dan had an old bomb of a Ford, something he'd inherited because his parents didn't know what to do with it. It still ran, but would Dan let me borrow it? It took about 10 minutes before Rhett's text arrived, and it said, It's my week with Tess. If you don't mind her coming, we could meet for lunch Sunday. Hadn't planned on a kid. This would change things. I'd never been on a date with a father with a kid before. I had better decide if I want to get involved because dating Rhett is a packaged deal. I can't date him without including the daughter. If our relationship grew serious, could I handle the future complications? It would mean I'd have to be very flexible because kids have a way to change your plans without notice. Before I could come to a decision, Rhett sent me a second text. Check out our videos. They're trending. Another thought hit me. Here's a guy who has a kid, and he's trying to make ends meet. Outside of the gym, and seeing movies, he probably has a limited or even no social life, because he has to go to work as well as take care of his daughter all the time. Rhett doesn't qualify as a single dad, but he does qualify as complicated. And I like him. Dan, can I borrow your car on Sunday? I yelled to the other bedroom in our apartment. No, he yelled back. Please, I have a date for lunch, I said, going to his room. A real date with a real person? He asked. Red, that's his name, I said. As long as I drive, he said. What? We'll make it a double date, he said. I'll call Beth. I sighed. 4 adults, 1 kid. This will be one weird date. I texted Rhett and said, Mildred's Diner, I'll pick you up about noon. At least I had a date. Something in my gut told me that this wouldn't go as planned. I pulled up the next weekend's new releases. The new movie next week was a spy thriller called Coming Out of the Rain. I began designing the sock puppets and searching for trailers. Sunday, the trip over to Rhett's place only took 25 minutes by car. Once we arrived at Rhett's apartment, a 2-bedroom on the 2nd floor, we ran up to their door. Tess answered the door. Dad, Gogo's here, she yelled. She wore a small pink backpack covered in butterflies. Her booster seat was by the door. Dan snickered at my nickname, but Beth kept a straight face. Rhett came out of the kitchen, drying his hands on an apron. He wore a pale green short-sleeved button-down shirt and denim shorts. He smiled when he saw us. I tried to see if Fran could watch Tess for a couple of hours, he said, but she's out with her boyfriend. After introductions, with me secretly not believing this is happening, we managed to install the booster seat, and the 5 of us took off. Since the booster seat was hooked in behind the driver's seat, it meant me and Rhett had to snuggle together. To make us fit together a bit better, he placed his arm about my shoulders. Sorry about this, he said. I should have realized we'd be a little cramped. I smiled, switched to my heroic announcer voice and said, We're living life in the fast lane. Tess giggled and said, Do more voices. I literally heard Dan roll his eyes. He's heard me practicing all my voices. Rhett's hand rested lightly on my shoulder. I pulled his arm a little tighter about me and cuddled into him a little more. Are you too comfortable? Dan said. As one, both Rhett and I said, Yep. We spent 2 hours at the diner, getting to know each other, and nearby was a park that we let Tess play in for half an hour. Then we headed back to drop Rhett and Tess off. Normally, dates don't have 5 people on them, but in spite of that, I had fun. If you want, Rhett said, but he blushed slightly. Tess and I can drive you back later, and we can spend some time working on a video. You know so much about these programs, I feel like I don't know anything. Fine with us if you two need some alone time, Dan said. That afternoon, Rhett and I worked on a video project while Tess watched something on the TV. Rhett had recorded a review earlier this week, but hadn't had time to edit it or post it. I showed him how to add movie clips and create a better thumbnail, and add random drama clips to enhance the presentation. I showed him a better way to do subtitles, add music, and add special effects. The video must have doubled in size by the time we were done. We overloaded that poor 5-minute video, but it looked great. Rhett and I got to talking, and while we edited and rebuilt the video, we learned about each other. He told me about how he and Fran had met, about being a not quite single father, about juggling Tess and her daycare and his job and the gym and making videos. Like I thought, the guy had no time to be social. Maybe I imagined it, but I got the sense that he wanted us to work out, either as friends or boyfriends, even just as 2 adults who could talk to each other. Just before Rhett and Tess drove me home, we posted the video we'd been working on. Even though going to see Rhett wasn't convenient, after all, He was an hour bus ride away. We began to call and text and plan a future collaboration project for the weekend Tess came back. The Wednesday after our collaboration, I opened up my channel and couldn't speak. Thrilled didn't describe how I felt. Ecstatic? Jumping for joy? Over the moon? I called up Rhett and said, "Guess what happened? Our accidental collaboration worked miracles. I've gained 53 new subscribers in one day. That's never happened before." "Let me open my channel," Rhett said. I pulled up his channel as well and waited for it to open. I couldn't believe my eyes. "Dude, your subscribers increased by more than 500 since we posted our collaboration? That's amazing." "I can't take credit for it," he said. "It's all because of you." "I bet if you wore sexier clothes, showed off a little more skin, you'd get more," I said, laughing. "Are you mad?" Red asked. His question surprised me, so I thought about how I felt for a second, and finally said, "No, I'm not mad. So what if you got more subscribers? My turn will come. But you do owe me dinner for making you a superstar." "Friday," he said, and I sensed the smile behind his words. "Tess goes to her mom's for the week. What say we take advantage of it? I'll swing by and pick you up, and let's forget about movies for the night. Let's do something different. What say I take you to the car show?" Technically, the car show was our first date, with only the two of us, and afterwards, Rhett kissed me. Or did I kiss him? Who cares? He's one great guy to make out with. We had a lot more dates with just the two of us. 6 months later, Rhett and I had spent almost every weekend together. We had done 5 collaborations between Movie Buff and Movie A Go-Go. I helped him take his channel to the next level. He now had almost 20,000 subscribers, and his total views would pass 1 million views sometime in the next month. For some reason, my channel didn't grow as fast. I had 9,900 subscribers. Half of what he had. I loved my crazy sock puppet reviews and insane voices. I guess sexy arms beat sock puppets every day of the week. It made me think about strategy. The old debate, do you do what you love or appeal to the masses? I loved making all the puppets and making my zany videos. Through the videos, I had found an audience, met a lot of online friends, and now found a boyfriend, and found a new family. That sounds corny, but I think Rhett, Tess, and I were bonding. Dan kept asking me if I was ready to have a relationship with a man with a 4-year-old daughter. For most people my age, that would be a deal breaker. For me, it simply seemed natural. You couldn't have one without the other, and I was fine with that. Tess and I got along, especially after I made her a princess puppet for her birthday last month. Vegas ConCom started today, and since they had asked Rhett to be on a panel, he'd gotten discount tickets. He also got his face on a promo poster. Rhett's panel was about ways to grow your YouTube channel. What's a panel? It's when several experts sit at a table in front of an audience and have an informal discussion about the topic. Rhett's channel had gotten noticed by the right people. It had grown a lot since I had met him. Mine had too. Our collaborations even helped my channel because I had just barely passed 12,000 subscribers. Nowhere close to what Rhett had, but it was good enough for me. Tess had come with us to the Vegas ComCon, and I had brought my backpack filled with a coloring book, some crayons, and some of her favorite sock puppets so I could keep her entertained, especially when her dad was on the panel. Rhett kept asking me what he should say. As I keep telling him, he has his sexy arms to thank for his popularity. His sexy glutes, too. Vegas ComCon is held in one of the hotels, and it's the weirdest place on earth. People are dressed as every character imagined, from superheroes to supervillains to movie characters and even movie monsters from every science fiction or fantasy show ever made. Thousands and thousands of people are there. The best part is the dealer's room. Hundreds of dealers are all lined up in a warehouse-sized hall, hawking everything from replica swords from Game of Thrones to starship models to obscure costume bits, games, cards, rare autographed comics, rare books, as well as several stars giving autographs, and people could take pictures with a Dalek and a TARDIS. They had everything. Another auditorium held showings of rare movies, or previews of shows about to come out, or showcases of some event. Multiple side rooms showcased different topics, almost like rooms in a museum. Other rooms held event panels where various guests talked about or gave classes about things people were interested in. There was even a class about how to make chainmail. We had to stop by the falconry demonstration because Tess wanted to see the birds. "Gogo, you have to make an eagle puppet," Tess said as we left. No matter how many times we tell her my real name, she always calls me Gogo. Somewhere among the craziness, I started taking notes. Maybe I could write a review on this. I took pictures and video, just in case. We finally reached the large room dedicated to social media, particularly how to grow your channel, or growing your audience, or improving your channel, or best ways to coordinate while using multiple platforms, or branding. This was the room Rhett was scheduled in. Rhett's panel was at 3 in the afternoon. We entered the large room a few minutes before 3. It was already filling up with all the seats in front taken. "You're Rhett from Movie Buff," some guy wearing a headset said. "Yes, I am," Rhett said. "We need you up on the stage right now. Your friends can find a seat," he said. Rhett followed him. A temporary stage was set up at one end of the room, with a couple of long tables on it, and 10 chairs. The experts had already taken their seats, including a couple very well-known YouTubers, and also including a gamer. There were 2 little problems. The first, it was a double-sized ballroom with hundreds of folding chairs, multiple cameras to record every angle of the event, and a few extra cameras for crowd shots. Several flat screens lined the walls so everybody could see the people on stage. I'm not shy, but speaking in front of thousands of people, live, in person, suddenly I was glad they never asked me to talk here. If all goes well, Rhett's channel will get a warp speed boost from this, and I'll take him out to dinner to celebrate. Most of the chairs were already full, especially at the front, so I quickly found a couple chairs at the back for me and Tess. Which brings me to the second problem. How do they expect a little girl to handle a day like this? An emotional and fun day is still an overload for a 5-year-old. Tess was already getting tired and cranky, and the treats I'd brought were almost gone. She didn't want to color anymore, was bored of the puppets, and wanted to get up and play. I racked my brain for things my parents had done in times like this. Just before the panel started, several people came in wearing costumes, including a princess with a magic wand. Tess's eyes grew very wide, but she grew very fidgety. "I want to go see the princess," she whined. I can't believe there are so many people in costumes, capes, body armor. Don't get me started on some of the weird shoes I've seen. Don't they get hot wearing some of the strange things they wear? Tess began violently swinging her legs on her chair and singing a little song. "Come on," I said, and looked up to catch Rhett's eyes. He was too busy with whatever they were telling him. I didn't want to miss this, but Tess was getting restless. I took her hand and led her out into the hall. Wouldn't you know it, somebody took our seats 5 seconds after we left them. Those were the last vacant seats in the room. When Tess and I got back, we'd have to stand. That's not a good thing for an exhausted little girl. As we walked in the hallway, I got out the princess puppet, carefully put it on her hand, and looked for something to eat. I think we'd have to get Tess to bed once Rhett finished with his panel. He'd hate that because there were a lot of things happening tonight. I bought us a couple of sugar-coated churros to nibble on, and we looked at an exhibit of movie robots. Tess had only finished half her churro when she softly said, "Daddy, can we go home?" What had she said? She's so tired she must think I'm Rhett. "I'm pretty tired too," I said, and picked her up. "Let me hold you while your legs rest." One moment she was awake, and then it was as if someone pulled her batteries out. She fell asleep on my shoulder, just like that, and her sugar-coated hand left a long sugar-coated smear on my shirt. Poor kid, she's exhausted. I snuck back inside the room, spotting Rhett up on the stage. They were debating something about frequency of video output. Is one a week enough to sustain viewers and promote your brand? Should a creator make more videos a week? Should a creator have to have a regular schedule, or is it better to have a random schedule? They gave multiple examples of each. Tess stirred, and I shifted her in my arms. I'd never thought about kids before. I'd never thought about adopting, or fostering, or attending school meetings, or anything like that. I'm just a college student. Rhett probably hadn't thought about kids either, and then came the one-night stand that changed his life. He didn't regret Tess 1 second, and had once said that his life was better for having a daughter. Life can change in an instant. I looked back at my first time meeting Rhett, at the insecure kid I used to be, trying to make faster videos. Was that only 6 months ago? That one trip had changed my life, and I had never realized it. If Rhett asked me to move in with him, would I do it? I think I would. I looked at the little princess puppet on Tess's arm, now slightly stained with sugar and churro crumbs. Maybe 2 fans are all I need. One 5-year-old fan that loves sock puppets as much as I do, and her father. Rhett, a voice filtered through the speakers. Your turn. Same question as the others. What has been the defining feature in turning Movie Buff into the success it is? I looked at the nearest monitor as it zeroed in on Rhett. In front of him was a name placard that simply said Rhett, Movie Buff. The camera made him look exactly as when I first saw him on my computer screen. I didn't regret the last 6 months at all. There's only one reason my channel is doing so well, Rhett said. Inwardly, I chuckled. We all know it's his sexy arms. 6 months ago, Rhett said, I met Chandler. Online, he goes by Gogo, and his channel is Movie A Go-Go. It's a movie channel like mine, except he makes sock puppets. He changed my life. My daughter and I used to watch his videos every day, and she fell in love with his puppets. We're his biggest fans. A single hand went up, but it wore a sock puppet of some character wearing a really long scarf and having a mop of curly brown hair. A voice yelled, I'm a sock star, baby. Woohoo! Something stuck in my throat. Chandler, I hope you're still here, Rhett said. He's been watching my daughter while I've been on stage. He was in the back last I saw him. Several cameras swiveled, and one zoomed in on me. Tess was in my arms, and she still wore her princess puppet. Suddenly, they plastered me and Tess on one of the monitors. Bigger than life. Oh boy, was I supposed to say something? A single hand went up. This time, the puppet wore a silvery dress and had long hair. A woman's voice yelled, Sock and Soul forever. Chandler has helped me with my channel and my videos and turned them into amazing things, Rhett said. If anyone should be up here, it's him. What he can do with the programs, or how he edits to the very millisecond, or how he can keep his sound so crisp. I'm still learning how to do that. We've been working together, and it's because of him that my channel is exploding, and he's doing it while making his own content and new sock puppets and going to school. The man is amazing. He came into my life when I needed someone. Let me publicly thank him for all he's done for me, and I want to tell everybody that I love that man. I love how insane he can be. I love how cute he is with my daughter. I love watching him create his puppets. I love how he can make my videos into works of art. Ah, hell, Chandler, you're too far away. A dozen hands suddenly went up, all wearing sock puppets, and a dozen people said, "Sock stars." Rhett jumped off the stage and ran through the crowd. A narrow aisle opened up straight to me and Tess. As soon as he got to me, Rhett took the sleeping Tess from me, grabbed my hand, and led me to the stage. I rolled with the oddness and started laughing. More sock star hands went up. Once we were at the stage, Rhett said, "Ladies and gentlemen, Chandler is the reason for my success, and I love him deeply." Rhett and I had kissed before, but it was nothing like this, and not with hundreds or thousands of people watching. It was the best kiss I've ever had. Epilogue. It's funny how life works out. Some people saw the video of Rhett's speech, and I was asked to join the film department at school. I changed my major to film. I didn't know UNLV had a film department, and now I'm not only editing movies, but me and some friends are about to shoot our own film. Rhett and I couldn't stay away from each other, and after we married, I adopted Tess. Rhett's channel has grown geometrically. With his sexy arms and my new film skills, my husband has a new career and another channel. He's both a fitness influencer, and he still reviews movies. I still have my channel. It isn't as big as Rhett's, but that's fine with me. Nobody does sock puppets like I do, and nobody kisses better than the movie buff. The end. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. I'm Gio, and welcome to my channel. If you'd like to hear more stories about gay men falling in love, I have a few more on my channel. Stop on by when you get a minute. I post a new video every Wednesday, so I'll see you next Wednesday. Peace.